James Gunn just made a blaze once again, this time by sharing a new behind the scenes image from the second season of Peacemaker, which might reveal the potential villain for the second season. Hello everyone, I'm Paulo, welcome to Luso. In this video I will attempt to uncover who this mysterious man is in this image from James Gunn, and which might imply to the future of the series and the DCU in general. So grab your popcorn, let's get to the point.
Nothing like a bloodbath to start the day.
With the sharing of this image, accompanied by the cap that adds even more suspense, where the director simply asks who is he, James Gunn has not only piqued the curiosity of his followers, but also thrown down the gauntlet to the more attentive DC Comics universe enthusiasts, a group I include myself. So in the image, we see a solitary man sitting in the front of a campfire, deep within a dark forest. The soft glow of the flames barely reveals a muscular aged figure, creating an atmosphere of ritual. The contrast between the surrounding darkness and the fire's glow further deepens the mystery. I believe with everything we see here, one of the most obscure characters in the DC Comics, which is Black Bison. After much reflection on this image and a lot of zoom to not miss anything, and considering how James Gunn works, I think this figure, which is like unfamiliar to most, is known as John Reveneer, aka the Black Bison, which has a rich and complex history with a deep root with Native American culture. In the comics, Black Bison possesses supernatural powers and a connection that might surprisingly link to the Green Lantern's universe. And if you keep in mind the last news about the Lantern series, that as far as we know is set to release after the second season of Peacemaker, at least as the rumors go, and since we got the news of the actors who will play Jon Stewart and Al Jordan, the release of this image could have some link, but I will talk more about this in a few moments. Now let's really discover who is Black Bison.
Fuck it.
As I mentioned, this character is one of the lesser known figures from the DC Comics, first appearing in the Fury of Firestorm during the 80s. His true identity belongs to John Reveneer, which is a history professor chosen to be the vessel for the spirit of his ancestors, which sometimes turns out to be a little bit spooky. And we have to keep in mind that James Gunn mentioned some time ago that the second season of Peacemaker will be more mystical, so it's a fit right here. But back to Black Bison. This spirit grants him supernatural abilities, including the power to give life to inanimated objects and control nature forces like wind and earth. Reveneer's initial motivation was to recover sacred artifacts belonging to his people to preserve their culture and honor his ancestors' legacy, something like Killmonger did in the Black Panther movie from the Marvel Studios. Just a little context to give an example. However, like many characters in the DC's vast universe, Black Bison strayed from his path, becoming an anti-hero instead of a hero, often clashing with characters like Firestorm. This blend of mystical powers and a narrative centered around indigenous heritage positions Black Bison uniquely, especially in the context of Peacemaker's second season. James Gunn has shown a special taste for morally ambiguous characters, and looking at Black Bison, it's easy to see how these nuances and complex figure could fit into the universe that Gunn is currently building. With this in mind, this connection between Black Bison and the Green Lanterns may seem far-fetched at first, because they look like from two different universes, right? But yet we know that the boundaries in the superhero universe are quite fluid, especially DC Comics, that has a long tradition of intertwined narratives from different characters and also mythologies. And introducing Black Bison in the second season of Peacemaker may be one of the starting points to explore these crossovers. The upcoming Lantern series will be one of the main bets from the new DCU, and with the official confirmation of the actors playing Jon Stewart and Alan Jordan, expectations are clearly high, particularly mine, because Green Lantern is one of my favorite characters from DC, and one of the best, at least in my opinion. And while Black Bison isn't a classic Green Lantern antagonist, his supernatural powers linked to the mysticism could offer fertile ground for interaction between these two. And since we know that the Lantern series will be a lot grounded, like James Gunn revealed in New York Comic Con, that could include like an artifact, for example.
It's a very grounded series, a very real series, which is strange to say in a Green Lantern show, but it's going to be something like nobody's ever seen before.
Moreover, we must consider that James Gunn has clearly shown inclination for unusual and obscure characters, like Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad, which makes Black Bison fit all the possible criteria to this character. If we consider the current trends in the entertainment, this character, with such a distinct cultural background, gives James Gunn the opportunity to explore deeper themes of culture preservation, and also the struggle between the ancient world and our modern world. The question remains, what is the impact that character like Black Black Bison could have on the second season of Peacemaker. The first season of Peacemaker introduced a character played by John Cena who struggles with his own moral compass, questions his ideals of peace at any cost, and consider Black Bison's backstory, who is also involved in fight for justice from a very different angle. We can imagine a fascinating ideological confrontation between these two. Black Bison is strongly motivated by preservation and vengeance on behalf of his people, while Peacemaker, with his misguided patriotism, believes the end justifies the means. This clash of ideas could be the central point of the plot of the second season, leading to a deeper reflection on what it truly means to do good. This might show us that Peacemaker could learn a lesson from Black Bison, whether he is an anti-hero or a villain in this series, but that would only happen after a confrontation between them, if indeed they learn anything from each other. Also, with what we know confirmed for the second season of Peacemaker, we already have the confirmation that Frank Grillo, who was Crossbones in the MCU, will play Rick Flag Sr., which is likely to delve more into Peacemaker's military past, and we must consider that this second season of Peacemaker is supposedly going to explain the transition between these two universes, the DCU and the DCU. I'm waiting the explanation of how Rick Flag's father from the original Suicide Squad will face Peacemaker in this season, and we have to remember that this character will debut in the animation series coming out at the end of this year, which more or less will mark the beginning of this new DCU. The animated series, of course, is Creature Commander. Another confirmed addition for the second season is Sol Rodriguez, who will play Sasha Bordeaux, which is a character from the DC comic known for being a bodyguard and a secret agent. Her inclusion opens the door for espionage subplots and political intrigue, which certainly enriches the plot of this second season. Regarding the rumors, nothing is confirmed, just some things that are circulating from some insiders online, and I only choose reliable sources. One of these rumors is that Nicholas Hoult will appear in the series as Lex Luthor, and Lex, as we all know, is undoubtedly one of the DC's most iconic villains, and his presence in the series like Peacemaker could dramatically alter the tone and direction of the story. Remember that Nicholas Hoult, he could come here to contract Peacemaker to kill Superman, because we know that he will be the main villain in the new Superman movie that comes next year, and that's like a kinda good idea, to contract Peacemaker to kill Superman. He should go to Bloodsport, but we don't know if he is coming back. Another rumor that has caused a lot of stir, and would be delightful to see, is the possible participation of Anthony Starr, the actor who plays Homelander in the series of The Boys, where he is going to portray Deathstroke. Nothing is confirmed, just a rumor, but Can't Deny is very interesting.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect.
If this happens, we can certainly expect action scenes that are breathtaking and with a very intense confrontation between Peacemaker and Deathstroke, or could be even a tease for the future of both characters. I wouldn't rule out a cameo from Star's Deathstroke like in the post-credit scenes of the series, or rather the season. As we've seen him as Homelander, the actor is clearly capable of playing extremely complex and morally ambiguous characters, and if we see him as Deathstroke, it could be one of the highlights of this season and possibly the future of DC. With all this in mind, the premiere date of Peacemaker is clearly one of the most anticipated dates in the DCU future, and for a good reason, right? The first season was a surprise, with emotional depth as well as irreverent rumor, and everything indicates that James Gunn is preparing to something even bigger and more ambitious this time. Although we don't know an official premiere date yet, we know the series will be released after the new Superman movie, which puts the premiere of the second season around the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026. Considering that James Gunn is right now shooting the second season, and we know he likes to take a lot of time editing stuff and creating a good CGI, let's be real, I could see this premiere date happening. As was shown in the DCU's introduction video, James Gunn clearly has a vision for what he wants for his future universe, and characters like Black Bison would fit here like a glove. We know James Gunn loves to explore obscure figures and bring out their humanity, making them also central pieces in larger narratives, just like he did with Peacemaker himself, who was perhaps known by hardcore comic book fans. He was like in the 4th or 5th class as a villain, if not lower, and now he's like one of the most recognizable anti-heroes, let's say that, in the modern era. I think Black Bison has the same potential, and if he only makes like a cameo in this season, it can become a much bigger deal in the future. Just look at what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy in the Marvel Studios, who no one cared much about, and he made them like one of the strong pillars in the MCU. And I would dare to say, it was from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie that the tone of the MCU changed a bit. That movie was so successful that they start to pushing everything in that direction, with the jokes and everything. Because until that movie, the MCU movies were a little different from each other. And after Guardians of the Galaxy, they tried to replicate that tone, right? Which in my view kinda made the movies in the MCU look like they're all the same, like the same pace and everything. It's not that is a bad thing, but if we have a vibe or something different from every movie or series, it makes more appealing stuff, right? And like James Gunn mentioned in the New York Comic Con, in the DCU, every film or series will be different from one another. Like everything will have his own tone, which is good in my view. Now, only time will tell if I'm right and Black Bison will show in second season of Peacemaker. For that, I want to read your opinion in the comments below, so feel free to leave any theory that you wanna share with me. I will be writing back. I want to be too impartial with you all because DC is my bread and butter, and I'm really excited for this new universe, especially because we know that Warner Brothers will not interfere this time with this new universe. At least is what I hope. That was the main reason they created the DC studios, to not risk the same mistake they did with the start of Snyderverse. They wanted to make money fast and easy and not to build a universe like Marvel did. And we know the result. So let James Gunn work freely alongside Peter Safran, we can't forget about him, but let the suit just sit back and collect the money and let the stories come from these two guys. That's all I'm asking. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm starting this new journey in English, so thank you for watching. Follow Nerd Luso on social media. I'm Paulo, and I hope to see you next time.